Hey guys, it's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at one of the probably the raunchiest horror movie I've ever seen. And if you've seen one raunchier than this, let me know because I want to watch it. As usual, this episode is brought to you by Cool Dude Inc. Go down to the notes and click the link and go make yourself look good. Stick around to the end of the episode where we will go over final thoughts, survival tips, and the Badass Award. But first, let's cue up the Whiskey Bats. You can find the Whiskey Bats on Spotify, iTunes, and if you go into the notes below, there's a link for their YouTube channel. And Mom, if you're watching this, turn it off. Skip this episode. Let's go. Finally, Night of Something Strange. I've been wanting to do this movie for a long time, and I've just never gotten around to it for a lot of reasons. One, this movie's fucked up. Night of Something Strange is directed by Jonathan Strahan. And when I do a zombie movie, and technically, yes, this is a zombie movie, I like to think of the cause. And in this case, the cause is a graveyard shift janitor, Cornelius, is mopping the floor when he walks into a room and discovers a naked female corpse and decides he's going to have sex with it, and we get some boobage right out of the gate. Later that night, he's in his bedroom, clutching his genital region in agony, when a lady who lives with him, I don't know if it's his mom or his girlfriend, it's hard to tell the age, but she walks in on him and he's pissing all over his bed. And when he sees her, he starts pissing on her, and his face is turned ghoulish, which he kind of looked ghoulish to begin with. And then he rapes her, and you know what? That's 2 rapes in the first 5 minutes. Instead of craving brains, this STD virus makes the host crave sex and orgasms, kind of like puberty. As he finishes, after a scuffle, he tears out her vajayjay and eats it. And then he leaves the house, but he gets hit by 2 drunken idiots.
Was that a bear? I think it was a man. A man bear? No, just a man.
After the opening credits, we meet Christine, who's sitting in class writing in her notebook. I assume it's her journal. She's talking about beach week, her final, basically, I think it's her spring break before senior year. She's going with her BFF Carrie and Carrie's boyfriend Freddie, her half-cousin Jason, Sonoma, her other BFF, and Sonoma's boyfriend, Brooklyn. Is it a coincidence that they all have horror movie villain names? Other than Brooklyn, but is he named after, like, Vampire in Brooklyn? The girl in her class, Pam, is she named after Pam Voorhees? Sneaks out of class, discreetly. Samara gets a fucked up text from her boyfriend, Brooklyn, and she decides she's not going to go. But Brooklyn decides he's going to go anyway, because he's got the weed, much to Christine's dismay. And after school, they start the road trip. And shortly into their road trip, they stop by a gas station so Carrie can pee. Earlier at said gas station, Pam and Dirk's the guy that picked Pam up from class, had stopped by the same gas station so she could use the bathroom, where she would discard her tampon, not flush the toilet, and not relock the door upon leaving. Coincidentally, the 2 idiot drunk drivers stopped by the same gas station, and without even knowing that they had a hitchhiker, Cornelius, attached to their vehicle because they hit him, they end up dropping him off there, and he sniffs his way into the bathroom. He finds the tampon and eats it. And after he eats it, he vomits blood and whatever else all over the bathroom. This brings us up to Carrie going to use it. This is worse than the train spotting bathroom, but she goes in and says, fuck it, I'll just hover. But she slips and lands her little butt cheeks right on that seat, soaking up blood and bile and zombie puke absorbing into her skin. Back at Cornelius's house, that lady, his mom or girlfriend or whoever she is, she kills the mailman and drips whatever's left of her vajayjay right into his mouth. I have to cringe when I talk about most of the stuff in this movie. And the mailman goes to that same gas station and kills the cashier, who I kind of already thought she was a zombie. Or maybe she's that woman at the DMV that renewed my driver's license. Oh! Night falls and Carrie starts to feel sick, and they pull over and she throws up, which causes Brooklyn to throw up. But in the distance, Cornelius is watching, and he's beaten off. Elsewhere at the Redwood Motel, Pam and Dirk got a room and they're getting it on, and we get some more boobage! But somehow he can't take his mind off the dick pics he saw on her phone when she was inside using the bathroom at that gas station. Later, Christine and the gang show up at that same motel. They're always one step behind Pam and Dirk, even though they have no plans with them. And is the beach that far away that they have to stop and stay the night somewhere? And then go to the beach? Like, why did they go after school? Why didn't you wait till the next... Like, why didn't you do it on Saturday, early Saturday morning, and do it all in one trip? How far away is the beach from these places? Yeah, I guess I'm spoiled because I live in the Pacific Northwest, so the beach is only like 2 hours from here. And where are they getting the money for this shit? Freddie and Jason go inside, and that's when we meet the weird-ass motel manager. While they're trying to check in, Jason looks through. He sees a hole in the wall, and he looks through, and he sees a little girl playing patty cake with some weirdo with a mask on. They finally get their rooms, and the girls find out that Freddie made Jason stay in the car so he could have sex with Carrie. So Carrie gets pissed. But Freddie tries to explain to her. It's like, hey, Blue Ball's running my family. And if I don't have sex several times a day, I could get exploding penis syndrome. But she's like, I don't give a shit. Get the fuck away from me. Get out of here. I can't believe you'd do that. She kicks him out of his room. So he goes outside and he finds a dumpster and goes behind it and starts jerking off. You know, to avoid EPS. But he's somehow caught by the motel manager and then hits his head on the dumpster and knocks himself out. Meanwhile, Jason is still out sitting in the car when the zombie cashier shows up. So he hightails it into Carrie's room, and suddenly, look who's horny.
I want you to fuck me as hard as you can.
What?
So they hump, despite the zombie cashier right outside the door. See what a one-track mind men have? In the other room, Brooklyn is trying to hook up with Christine, but she ain't having it. Couple rooms down, Pam and Dirk get in a fight. He's finally hit his jealous boiling point and storms out of the room. And right after he leaves, Cornelius lunges in Pam's room, takes her down, bounces a TV off her, and eats her vajayjay, literally. But at least the motel manager got rid of his condom for him.
Got a bloody hitchhiker riding with you.
Jason's still humping Carrie.
Me.
I am.
Fuck me.
I am.
Right after he climaxes, she seems to pass out. She comes back too, a sex-craving zombie, and she kills him, but he's already infected. Freddy wakes up, but instead of actually getting up, he continues masturbating. He tries to finish, but once again he's caught by the motel manager, who asks him if he needs some help, and he's like, no, I'm good, and he gets the fuck out of there. He goes back to his room, lights her off. Look who's in bed. It's Carrie, naked. So he's like, oh, right now would be a good time for some humping. You know, because she's asleep. She's face down, so he decides he's going to go through the back door, but it's closed, so he thinks he's going to lick it open, which works. So he humps her, then he takes a little break, and then he goes for round 2. But slowly he notices Carrie is not Carrie. Carrie is Jason. And to make matters even worse, Jason ain't even alive. He dead. And to make matters even worse than that, Freddy can't get his dick back out of Jason's puckered butthole. He's stuck. How's that for a Freddy vs. Jason sequel? Then the zombie cashier shows up and farts some nauseous gas. Outside, Christine can't get her soda to come out of the machine. And this is when she meets Dirk. They make a little small talk. And he enlightens her with his annual vending machine death statistics. And they're hitting it off. And I think at this point, Dirk's like, yeah, really wish I wouldn't have fucked Pam a few moments ago. This chick's cool. But their happy little meeting is interrupted by a scream. It's Carrie, and she is full zombie. So Dirk gives her a left cross, and they make a run for it. They don't even bother to tell the other, and I don't blame them, because let's face it, Christine's friends are pieces of shit. They bail to the car, and they get in, but Carrie jumps on the hood, which scares the keys right out of Dirk's hands. Luckily, he has a gun. Bye, Carrie. Christine and Dirk take a moment to assess the situation. And just then Cornelius shows up and he jerks Dirk right out of the car. And just as he's about to butt rape Dirk, Christine grabs the pistols and puts a halt to that crime. Christine calls the cops while Dirk keeps looking for the keys. They're underneath the car, which is weird because they were in the car when he dropped them. As he reaches down and tries to grab the keys, Cornelius grabs him. So Christine once again grabs the gun, but Carrie is still alive. Dirk kicks Cornelius in the dick repeatedly, and then he realizes to stop these zombies, you have to destroy their genitals. Unlike regular zombies that you gotta destroy their brains, in this case you gotta destroy the dicks and the vaginas. But if that's true, then how did Cornelius's mom/girlfriend, whoever he lives with, how did she come back? She killed the mailman after having her vagina torn out. And then Pam comes back later, which she got hers torn out too, so the theory continuity is kind of skewed here. Dirk looks over and he sees Christine fighting with Carrie, so he tells her to kick her in the vag, which she does, but she gets her foot stuck. And eventually, after a struggle, she gets it out, but she loses her shoe, and they both flee back to her room, where Brooklyn is. They fill Brooklyn in on the situation as the cop arrives, but the cop goes to Freddy's door and he knocks on it. And Freddy's like, not in a position to answer the door, so he's not stalling, but he's not answering either. So finally the cop busts the door down, and Freddy just kind of plays it off. He figures, well, if I make the cop feel uncomfortable, he'll just kind of turn his head and walk away. So he acts like him and Jason are lovers, just got done making love, and they're trying to go to sleep. They don't know what's going on out there. And the cop's like, whoa, okay. Sorry, wrong room. When the cop leaves, he runs into Dirk and Christine in Brooklyn. And as they're talking amongst each other, Cornelius is slowly creeping up, jerking off. And they're looking past the cop at Cornelius, who's slowly walking up, jerking off. The cop's like, I don't believe what you guys are saying. There's nobody behind me. And when he does turn around, Cornelius shoots acidic ejaculation all over him and kills him. Back in Freddy's room, Jason comes to, and he's full-on zombie. And Freddy's dick is still stuck in his ass as Jason is trying to leave the room. And Freddy tries to resist, but he can't. And as Jason goes through the door, he breaks Freddy in half. Carrie is still attacking the others, who are now in the car. From the roof of the car, she grabs Brooklyn's head and tries to shove his head into her clam, which melts his face and kills him. Figures they kill the black guy first. What? Nobody else has officially died yet. Cornelius is back. Dirk and Christine run different directions. Dirk winds up back in his room and finds Pam. Then Carrie attacks. These fucking zombies don't die. Dirk stomps Pam's head, but her vajayjay is still intact, and it starts to attack him. And it's got shark teeth, and some tentacle comes out of it. So he grabs his pistol and sticks it in and pulls the trigger. Outside, the mailman's tentacle dick is attacking Christine. So the motel manager shows up and hits the mailman in the back of the head with a shovel. Christine takes a shovel and uses it to cut off the mailman's dick. And then she gives it back to the motel manager, who she thought she could trust. And he smacks her in the head with it. Then the motel manager finds Dirk and hits him in the head too. When Dirk and Christine awake, they're duct taped to chairs. In a combination of a Dexter kill scene meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre dinner scene. Turns out the motel manager, they're surrounded by a table that kid that was playing patty cake is there. The weird guy or weird thing in the mask that was playing with the kid is there. Turns out they're cannibals. And there's some other weird chick. Who the fuck is the other chick? And the motel manager is completely unaware that zombies are even a thing. He just wants some dinner. But Cornelius shows up to the rescue inadvertently, and he kills the motel manager. So Christine shoots Cornelius in the head, and then in the dick, and then her and Dirk flee to the car once again. As they're starting up the car, they get attacked by a male and female zombie. Again, is it Carrie? Is it Jason? I don't know. A tire iron falls from the sky, which Dirk used to kill his zombie, and Christine uppercuts her zombie in the pussy and pulls something out. I don't know what it was. And they start up the car. They drive. They stop. Just as you think there's going to be a happy ending, Christine starts to turn. And it's kind of sucks because this was, up until now, it was kind of a rom-com. But now Dirk's going to have to kill Christine, but Christine backs away from the car and a truck comes and hits her. Which means Dirk doesn't have to kill her himself because she's got feelings for him, so it's kind of a relief. But it turns out it's those two drunken morons from the beginning that hit Cornelius in the first place. And they stop and they're like, hey man. And they start asking Dirk some questions and he's like, you know what? I just want to go down south. That's where my family lives. And they're like, man, we just came from down south, man. There's nothing down there. There's no point in going. And then a car comes and hits Dirk. The end. The Gilligan Award goes to Cornelius because he raped a corpse, became patient zero. Well, he raped patient zero and started this shit show to begin with. What did we learn? Survival tales.
This seems like a no-brainer, but don't have sex with a corpse. And if you do, make sure the corpse doesn't have an STD. Once you stab the culprit, don't investigate. Either keep killing or just get the fuck out of there. If your girlfriend denies you sex, don't just wait for her to fall asleep and have sex with her anyway. But if you do, make sure it's actually her before you start.